What's up guys, we got another driving test leaving from the Birmingham's Garretts Green. So this is a real test from one of my students, and as always, any faults that appear will be popping up in the screen in red writing. But also anything good that they do or any junctions are a bit tricky, I will be talking you guys through them as well. They started off with good all-round observations. They noticed the orange car that was parking up, they waited for them to go, and then they started to move off. Remember, good all-round observation starts off with your far left shoulder all the way over to your far right. Some people say you don't need to check your far left shoulder if you're parked up in certain positions. I think it's always best to do that. So as we can see in the top left corner, Red Fury driving out ready for another test. Let's see if they pass. As you can see, the test centre road isn't too busy today. Their speed at the moment is tracking roughly about 18 to 20 miles per hour. The speed limit is 30 miles per hour, but they've got a car in front of them, so there's no point getting to 30 miles per hour just to have to slow down for them. Here you would need a right mirror check before you moved out and a left mirror check before you move back in. I say this all the time, but mirror checks are crucial. It's one of the main safety things that we need to look out for during our driving test and when we're driving on the roads. You don't know what's to your left or what's to your right, what motorbikes are sneaking up on you and things like that. There would be quite a lot of clutch work in play here as they're stuck on the hill. Practice this as many times as you can before your test, because sometimes it can be quite pressuring when you've got a stranger next to you and there's a queue on this hill. Try to go there at busy times and quiet times, as you don't know how it's going to be on your test day. As you can see, there's absolutely no rolling back on this hill whatsoever. The clutch control is absolutely on point. At this point I think they were going to go, but they noticed the white car to the right. It then waves them across and they emerge out. You can see there's quite a lot of clutch control involved in today's test. The traffic in front is moving fairly slowly, so clutch control skill is crucial here. We're now approaching the box, which will be keep clear. As you can see, the traffic's flowing all the way through this, so they don't need to worry about stopping before the keep clear. At this roundabout, they've been asked to turn right. As they enter, they have fantastic positioning, keeping to the inside of the roundabout. And their positioning as they come off is perfect. They're keeping to the very left and they would have checked their mirrors to the right as the lanes start to merge. People can get caught out here. The lights are flashing orange, so you must wait until they have fully crossed before you continue. The person in the white jacket should have waited, but she entered the road. My learner waited until she had got to the middle island and then continued. If she had have continued, then she could have got a serious fault because of the person in the white jacket. This is why good observations at crossings is so important. Everything was handled perfectly there, so there was no faults whatsoever. At this roundabout, we're turning right. This one's a bit of a tight road, but they come off with perfect positioning. Up ahead can sometimes be a tough one. There's normally cars parked up on the left, which are opening and closing their doors when they're coming back from the shops. Today, for once, it's actually perfectly clear. Now, I just want to point out just how good the positioning is around this roundabout. It's only a single lane entry roundabout, but they still follow the 12 o'clock rule. With the oncoming white Fiesta, space will get quite tight. They keep the car rolling to make sure the Fiesta's passed and they have enough room either side. At this junction, they've been asked to take the next road on the left. Look at how they position the car slightly to the left so that they have a good angle for when they emerge out. The GPS speedo is inaccurate, but down this road they didn't pick up any faults for use of speed. Therefore, they'd be following 30 miles per hour correctly. Some people think this is a 40 road. It's definitely not. You'll notice the windscreen wash just went on. This was their show me question. Now, while you all think that examiners are big scary people, I want to explain something quite funny that happened here. My student had their seat very far forward to the point where they were nearly touching the steering wheel. The examiner could see that they weren't comfortable because they were sitting so much upright. So at this point, the examiner actually said, "Look, let's sort your seat out, let's get comfortable, let's adjust it." The examiner didn't need to do this at all, and my learner did adjust their seat, and I think it did feel much more comfortable for them after. So please don't listen to all the horror stories. In Garrett's Green, they're really not monsters. This examiner was a lovely lady, and she could tell that my learner wasn't comfortable and then made sure that she did feel at ease. I believe the seat is now adjusted and they're going to be following the sat nav. You'll notice my learner positions slightly more to the right than the vehicle in front. That is exactly how we're told to teach it. We're meant to stop just before the white line, not crossing over or causing any obstructions on the oncoming traffic. Because she did that, the black Nissan managed to get past her. This shows she's taken all other road users into account and sharing the road exactly how we should be. They've now been asked to pull up on the left. They pick a position where they're not blocking any driveways and they do all the appropriate checks before they move over. This street as well can sometimes be quite busy with cars parked up either side. Good planning and awareness is needed to see if you need to pull over anywhere and let any oncoming vehicles pass. They've been asked to pull over again on the left. All of it's within quite close proximity with each other. Normally, if you'd get pulled up in this position, you would be asked to do a parallel park. I think because there's a junction to the right, that's more than likely why they didn't do one here. They've now pulled over 3 times. You'll do it in your test anywhere between 3 to 4 times. Each time as well, they'll try to make it slightly differently. You notice they pulled up behind a car that time. This is classed as an angled start. And coming up is the infamous left and then immediately right turn that quite a lot of us hate. So remember, on approach, centre left mirror, and then immediately as you enter, centre right mirror, and don't forget your signals. So far, you'll notice we're on 0 faults. I haven't forgot to put them up, there just aren't any. My students given plenty of space to learn a vehicle in front that's doing a parallel park. Not only does it put them under less pressure, it also gives you better view of the road ahead. We've been asked to take the next road on the right. Before each speed bump, they ease off the gas slightly to reduce the speed. Some people think because it's a 30 miles per hour road, you must do 30 over the speed bumps. No, that's completely wrong. Speed bumps are designed to slow you down. Every time I upload this roundabout, I always get questions and messages asking which way they went. They've been asked to go straight ahead at the roundabout. The exit to your left you see is the first exit, is classed as a left. The exit they're now taking is second exit straight ahead. At this roundabout, they've been asked to go right. So remember that 12 o'clock rule I always talk about? This roundabout is an exception to that rule. You can see that by the road markings on the floor. It's telling you you must go straight ahead in the right-hand lane. Because they go straight ahead in the right-hand lane, it means they must be on the inside of the roundabout. Again, coming up is another time you ignore the 12 o'clock rule. You can see this by the signs that were to the left saying that you must go straight ahead in the right-hand lane. Here they are now telling you to position into the right-hand lane for straight ahead. Okay, so the footage that's coming up now, it caused a bit of controversy on YouTube, people telling me that I'm wrong. But to all you keyboard warriors out there, I'm sorry, but the examiners and the instructors are not wrong when we say this. You'll see what I mean shortly. At this roundabout, they've been asked to go right. They're positioned in the correct lane and are waiting for a good suitable gap. There was a few opportunities that went by where they could have gone. So they started off in the correct lane, sticking to the inside of the roundabout. The lane that you see right now is the lane that they need to stay in. The lane that's now opening up is for the road that's opposite to go right. So they're now positioned in the wrong lane. They realise that they're in the wrong lane, they check the centre left mirror, they signal left, and then they move back over to left because they see there's plenty of space between them and the silver car. No, this is not classed as a driving fault on your driving test. If the space had been restricted, my student wouldn't have moved over. If they hadn't have checked their mirrors or done any form of checks or signalling to move over, yes, they would have failed for that. But they did it all safely. That's the main thing the examiners want, is a safe test. So the only fault that was picked up there was the one for hesitation at the roundabout. For all of you quoting the highway code in that situation, I'm sorry, but you are wrong. It did not go down as a fault. At this junction they've been asked to go right. Now previously in some of my videos you would have seen one where we ended up nearly going into a bus lane and having to stop sharply in the middle of the road. Well, this is the same student. See how they handle it now. And as you can see, it was handled absolutely incredibly. This is why it's important, if you make a mistake with your friends or family, re-go over it. If you make it again, go over it again. Practice makes perfect, and this shows this perfectly. So normally at this point, you'll be asked to turn right and you'll normally end up in North Solihull car park for a manoeuvre. But it seems like today we're going left. So we're nearly 30 minutes into the driving test now. If you're at this point, you'll know that the home stretch is near. You've done the show me. All you have to do is get back to the test centre, do your manoeuvre and wait for the result. Now there's two lanes for straight ahead here. They picked the perfect lane, which is the left-hand lane. It's normally easier to pick the left-hand lane just because further up the roads merge and the left-hand lane is your normal driving lane. If there was a bus lane further up on the left, then it would be better to pick the right, but that's not the case in this situation. So this is the fourth of the pulling up on the left. It's very common to get it on this road because it is a bit challenging because it can be quite busy. So we are 30 minutes in, only one driving fault. How do we think the rest is going to be? You'll notice the lights ahead shortly go to amber. Amber means stop if it's safe to do so. So what the Range Rover in front would do would end up in a serious fault. As you can see, it's a little bit busy on the roundabout, but it is safe for them to enter as the traffic is slightly moving. Any cars that were behind, they can still go straight ahead, and any cars coming from the other side, they can still go around them. So we're now nearing the end of the test. What you'll notice is they haven't done their manoeuvre yet, so it is going to be a reverse bay at the test centre. This can be quite a hard one to practice as the examiners don't allow you to practice in those bays. It's quite tight down here today as you can see, but they keep the pace nice and slow and they don't force their way through. They have at this point been told that they're going to be doing a reverse bay park. You'll notice there's a few things going on, so they're just looking around, seeing if it's safe to move forwards, before lining up their reference point with the spots to the left. The car to the right has just had their test. I hope you passed if it was you. So I was watching this one from over the far right. They did their all-round observations and they carried on doing what I call the tennis checks as they were moving. It's looking over your far left and then your far right as you continue to move back. They weren't just staring at the mirrors. And there I am watching from afar, incredibly nervous. And by the way, this is why I don't normally record in the test centre area because there's too much blurring that needs to be done. But because this drive was so amazing, I had to include all of it. Now, when they got into the spots, they were touching the line. So my learner actually said, I'm touching the lines, I think I'm going to readjust. The examiner said, do what you need to do. So that's what they did. They did all-round observations and then they went forward to adjust. Because they first of all were touching the lines, they did pick up one minor fault. So there you have it. That is how to pass your driving test with only 2 minor faults. The main things I want you to focus here is the positioning and the judgment and the planning and awareness of things ahead. Passing your driving test can be quite difficult, but passing it first time with only 2 faults, that's even harder. The biggest piece of advice I gave to my learner on this occasion was don't overthink things. Sometimes if you do overthink things like faults or where you should be steering and things like that, it can have a spiral effect. So remember, on your test, stay calm, plan ahead, and remember, the examiner wants a safe drive, not a perfectly smooth one.